How's it going, everybody? CJ here, back with another video. We're doing another first thoughts today. This first thoughts is on Carth the Lion. This commander seems real sweet, but before we hop into that, remember, description down below, we've got the TCG player affiliate link, the Patreon, the my personal store. All those are in the compiled link there. You can support the channel through any of those routes. We also have the Twitch, the Twitter, the Discord if you want to chat with us, the TikTok, and other things in that link. So check out that link and you'll see everything we got. Also, I've got my P.O. box down below, so if you want to join in for any mail day things, you can click on that. Or not click on that, but go through that. Send through that. And we're going to hop into this. So, Carth the Lion. This card seems real sweet. That second ability is super, super cool. Making it so the way the second ability works means if you've got a Planeswalker with a +1, instead of it only plussing 1 loyalty, it'll plus 2 loyalty. But if you also have a Planeswalker with like a -3, it'll make it so you only have to take off 2 loyalty counters instead, so it becomes a -2. It's super powerful. There's some really cool shenanigans you can do with this. So this is going to be a great Golgari Super Friends deck. Because also, whenever your Planeswalkers die, you get to go and get a new one out of the top 7, and same thing whenever Carth enters the battlefield, so there's some great synergies there. And the first thing, probably the most important thing I want to talk about here is the Planeswalkers. So there's a number of big Planeswalkers that you can play in this deck because green-black. So I'm going to slow roll it a little bit so that way I can show off some of the Planeswalkers that will fit very well in the deck. And like I'm just going to say the name, like the first name of the Planeswalker, and then any versions that would work really well I'll put up on the side over here. So you'll see that. We're going to start off with Freyalise. There's only one of them, so it's not going to take too long here. You got Garruk. There's a whole lot of Garruks that seem pretty good in this deck, so you got to take a look at what you really want to pick. There's Grist, brand new card from Modern Horizons 2. You got the Karns. Seem pretty strong in this deck, especially Liberated seems cool. You got Liliana. There's so many Lilianas in Magic's history. There's just a ton of them will work in this deck. You just got to look through them all. Same thing with Nissa. Just so many different versions of Nissa, and all of them are pretty good. You've got Obnixilis. You've got some Sorins. There's Tevish Zat, which I believe is only one of. You've got Ugin, and the Spirit Dragon is insane in this deck. You've got Vivian, and you've got Vraska. So all of them have a significant number of Planeswalkers that would work really well in this deck. Next, I'm going to talk about cards that make the Planeswalkers better, just help with the Planeswalkers. They're Planeswalker Matters cards. You've got Storev, Devkaren Lich. I completely forgot this card existed. It's super synergistic in the deck, though, because Carth has a death trigger for when Planeswalkers die, and Storev has a way to reanimate Planeswalkers, kind of. So it works really well. Like, they work super, super well together, super synergistic. It's an auto include in the deck. You've got Oath of Nissa, which lets you just tap your mana however you want, and it can get you some card selection when it enters the battlefield. The Chain Veil, just fantastic card in this deck. Double your ability to, like, lets you activate each Planeswalker twice. Seems super good. Will let you ultimate Planeswalkers like crazy with Carth in play as well. You've got Reki, History of Kamigawa. Seems fantastic in the deck. Every time you play Planeswalker, you get to draw a card. Great include. Elder Spell. This card seems disgusting in the deck because of the fact that Carth has that death trigger. So you can, like, say you've got an Ugin in play and you need to get rid of the board because you're going to die if you don't. You can Elder Spell all of your Planeswalkers other than Ugin, or all your colored Planeswalkers, and give all the counters to Ugin, let Ugin minus to blow everything up, but when you do this, Carth will trigger and let you go through the top 7 however many times you had Planeswalkers get destroyed by the Elder Spell. It works so well. Like, it's such a good synergy in the deck. You've got Kamal's Druidic Vow, lets you dig into your deck and pull out a bunch of Planeswalkers and put them into play. Command the Dreadhorde, good mass reanimation for Planeswalkers. Confront the Past, it's a singleton reanimation for Planeswalkers, seems decent. You got Yawgmoth's Vile Offering, which is similar, but it's also a removal. Great card there. Oath of Liliana, when it enters, it's like minor removal, but it also gives you zombies in the future, so that's pretty neat. You've got Nesting Grounds, which seems disgusting in this deck. Nesting Grounds can put in a lot of work because you can move counters around so that way you can ultimate planeswalkers faster. Like move a loyalty counter from one walker to another walker. So an example is like Liliana Death's Majesty. Like say you play that card. You play Liliana Death's Majesty. Because of Carth, it costs -6 to ultimate. And so you can Nesting Grounds a counter from one planeswalker to Liliana. Suddenly she has 6 loyalty. You can -7, which is actually -6, and just destroy all the non-zombie creatures, and you're in a good position there. Like, there's a number of planeswalkers that would work for this. I'm not sure exactly how many. I'll have some on the screen, though, over here, so you can see some more of them. But there's some very powerful synergies with Nesting Grounds, auto included in the deck. Also, Interplanar Beacon, fantastic land, gains you some life. And then we got Spark Reaper, which is an interesting card because you do get triggers when your planeswalkers die. So if you get your planeswalkers pretty low and somebody tries to attack them to kill them, you can sacrifice them to Spark Reaper, get the trigger, draw a card, gain a life. Seems like a decent include. Next up, I'm going to talk about just some other very synergistic cards that have to do with the loyalty counters. You've got Doubling Season and Vorinclex. Both of these make it so when your planeswalkers enter, they enter with double the number of counters on them, and they can ultimate that much faster. It's just super, super powerful synergy there. You also have Peer, Imaginative Rascal. Every time you activate a planeswalker, when you're adding loyalty counters, whenever you plus a planeswalker, you get an additional loyalty counter on it, so that's pretty neat. And then there's a lot of ways to proliferate those loyalty counters, including Evolution Sage, Plane-Wide Celebration, Contagion Engine, Sword of Truth and Justice, and Karn's Bastion. All those seem like fantastic includes. You can also copy the Planeswalker abilities, like just so that way you get the trigger, like get the activated ability off again using Rings of Brighthearth or Lithoform Engine. You can also use Lithoform Engine to copy Carth's Enter the Battlefield trigger, and you can use a what's it called? Sonic Resonator to do the same thing, so that way you can get 2 planeswalkers, which isn't a bad idea. Conjurer's Closet, another way to do that. You can, at the end step, just flicker Carth and get another planeswalker out of your deck. And Helm of the Host seems like a really cool way to do this, so that way you just keep amassing more and more Carths. Each one says, so you can end up like turning your minuses into plus. Like if you have 3 Carths in play, a -3 becomes a 0. Like, it costs you 0 loyalty to do a -3. That's insane. Plus, if any planeswalkers die, you get to dig 21 deep in that case. Insane. Helm of the Host seems like an amazing include in this deck. But unfortunately, other than Conjurer's Closet, there's not a lot of ways to, like, flicker or bounce, or flicker or blank Carth in black and green. So you can also go about it through sacrificing him and reanimating him, which isn't the best idea, but, I mean, it's not a terrible plan. So you can use some sacrifice outlets like Viscera Seer and the Altars, Altar Dementia, Phyrexian Altar, and Ashnod's Altar, and reanimate him with like Reanimate or Animate Dead. You can use Phyrexian Reclamation to bring him back as well, and there's a number of planeswalkers that will let you reanimate him, so that's pretty neat. And next up I want to talk about Pillow Fort. You gotta have some ways to deter your opponents from attacking your planeswalkers, because you want your planeswalkers to stick around. Even though they have the death trigger, you're, for the most part, better off with them staying and you being able to activate them over and over and over again. So cards that work really well for that are Cunning Rhetoric. It gives you card advantage if your opponents attack you or a planeswalker you control. You've got the Vows, being Vow of Malice, Vow of Wildness, and Vow of Torment. All of those seem great because they make it so your opponent's creatures can't attack you. Like, you just to put them on the scary creatures and then you're safe from them. Same thing with the impetuses. You got Parasitic Impetus and Predatory Impetus. Both those seem like good includes. Sandworm Convergence can protect against flyers and also pump out a lot of 5/5s, which can help protect you. And you've got Maze of Ith, just a way to remove a creature from combat if you need to. Seems good. Another way you can do this is throwing in a bunch of fogs. Fog effects like Arachnogenesis. You've got just straight up fog. You've got constant mists. Any card similar to that seem pretty good in the deck. Just making it so your opponent's creatures can't do damage to your planeswalkers during that turn. Not a bad idea. And lastly, I just want to talk about some unique planeswalkers for this deck. Some walkers that have like a very unique synergy with Carth. There are certain planeswalkers that can just instantly ultimate because of Carth. They enter the battlefield and you can immediately ultimate them. And those include Garruk Wildspeaker. So you can put him into play, ultimate him, and get a +3/+3 and trample to all your creatures until end of turn. So if you have a big board, then you can win the game off that. There's Nissa Vital Force, which gives you an emblem whenever a land enters the battlefield under control, draw a card. That's fantastic. You've got Garruk Cursed Huntsman. You get an emblem where your creatures get +3/+3 and trample. Fantastic there. That's super nice. Nissa Shadow Bows, so you can reanimate something, including maybe, well, you wouldn't be able to reanimate Carth with this right off the bat because of Carth needing to be in play for you to do that. But also with a fetch land, you'd be able to do so. So, like, it's a similar effect with a fetch land. Nissa's very good at bringing stuff back. And otherwise, there's cards like Davriel and Zhang Yangu, both the War of Spark ones. They have a -1. It ends up being a 0, so they'll just stick around forever, and you can just continue to use them as much as you want. And then, if you don't really want to use them anymore, they're great fodder for your Elder Spell. But there's a lot of really powerful stuff you can do with this commander, and I'm excited about it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time. Peace out, everybody.